If you're looking for great podcasts to inspire and empower your kids, check out Good Night Stories for Rebel Girls. Each episode features an all-star cast of narrators reading stories of amazing women like Sojourner Truth, Grace Hopper, Vice President Kamala Harris, and so many more. Find the rebel women who will inspire your kid with Good Night Stories for Rebel Girls. New episodes every Tuesday, wherever you get your podcasts. For 30 plus years, I've seen every type of child grow up.
Instead of giving me what I wanted, she gave me what I needed, which was truth.
Don't let emotions win. Let truth win.
Do your very best, and you should have a lot of fun while you do it. And the better you get at something, the more fun you're going to have at something.
You moms and dads are wired with everything you need to be a parent to a great kid. Welcome to Parenting Great Kids. This is episode number 127. It's hard to believe. I'm your host, Dr. Meg Meeker. Today, my guest is author Elise Tate. Elise is the wife of NFL star Golden Tate. She's the mother of 2 biracial children. Best known for her parenting tips, DIY tricks, frugal couponing, her love for cooking, and her boss mom entrepreneur lifestyle. She's in the NFL world, but relatable to the everyday, busy, overworked mom. She's the author of Sign Me Up for a Happy Home, a baby toddler starter sign language book, helping to bridge the communication gap during those months or years while your child knows exactly what they want, but cannot yet say it, but they can sign it. As always, I'll share my points to ponder for you to start using right away. And parents, remember, please don't just download the episodes, subscribe to them, because when you do that, you're joining my parenting revolution. And every new episode will automatically show up in your subscribed list. I'd love for you to write to us and review us on iTunes and let us know what you think of the podcast. Also, we're on iTunes, but the PGK podcast is now available in the Google Play Store and on Stitcher. So no matter where you get your podcast, subscribe today so you won't miss a single one. Friends, do you get sick of hearing your kids argue? Of them not listening to you? Or do you feel that sometimes life at home is out of control? I get it. You need to check out my brand new webinar, When No Stops Working. Go to my website, meekerparenting.com, and sign up today. It's free. So parents, thanks for listening. This is episode number 128. Stay with us. I want you now to listen in on a conversation I had with Elise Tate. I know you're going to love this one. Well, Elise, I'm so excited to talk with you. I love your book. Honestly, no one's ever sent me a book about signing, and I honestly haven't read one. So I really appreciate you being with me today on Parenting Great Kids.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and I have been the biggest fan. You can see my face, my big grin for years and years. I've had your books for years, so this is truly such an honor, and I'm just so grateful and excited to be on with you.
Well, good. And it's, it's mutual. You and I met, was it 2 years ago?
I think, a year or so ago.
Was it a year ago?
Okay. So. Maybe 2.
That's what my old brain does.
Yeah, a year, maybe 2.
So tell everybody how we met. I think it was really fun. It was sort of providential.
Yes. So we met, we are with my husband and I are with the New York Giants right now. We are 11-year veterans in the NFL, and Dr. Meg Meeker was hired by the New York Giants organization to come in and speak to us and do a fun parenting. It was just like a parenting session. Yeah, the Giants are really cool and do a lot for families. So we got the opportunity. This email was sent out about you, and I was like, "Oh, Golden, we have to go." So we
I just remember you coming up, and we just chatted for quite a long time, and I thought it's just so fun. It's just a great, great crowd. You live a crazy life.
Yes.
And we were talking about that before we came on air. And I think a lot of that has to do with the inception of this book, doesn't it? So,
Absolutely.
So if you could just sort of give us a background and then lead us into why that got you to write this book.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that'll kind of like that's kind of the whole story all in one. So yeah, we lead such a crazy life in terms of we're always moving. So, just throw in life and then imagine. I feel like when people are like, I'm moving, and it's the first time they've moved in 10 years, I'm like, here, let me give you all the pointers. But yeah, I swear every 4 months, it's like, we're in our playing city for the season of the NFL, but then we move back home to San Diego. And then for training, we'll move back out to our playing city and then move back home. So throw in 2 kids in, I had 2 within 13 months of each other. So that was wild. So we're, packing up and moving with kids and this and that. And the craziness of life combined with me just kind of, I show a lot of live stuff on Instagram, just on my stories. And the craziness of life combined with live Instagram stories is how this book came about. When I was teaching our daughter sign language, and it was truly this live experiment. I was, doing it for the first time with my daughter. And then when she started reciprocating, it was just wild. And everybody got to see it live happening. And then all of the questions from moms pouring in, and just it became so overwhelming. Long story short, that's why the book happened, was I didn't have that resource to recommend. That was all the questions, is how do I do it? What's the combined, what's the one book you'd recommend? So yeah.
And you didn't have a book to recommend.
I didn't. So what I was doing at the time, when I first was teaching London, I bought, I'm not kidding you, I spent probably $340 on sign language baby books. I bought all the ones I could on Amazon. I was researching whatever, and some were board books, some were pop-up books. I mean, $29.99 for this pop-up book. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Pull the tab and the hands are really moving in real life. And I'm like, this is cool because it's really showing you how to do it. Well, within a day of having that book, my daughter ripped it to shreds.
Of course, I was going to say. Yeah. Of course, that's what they do. And then you tape them and you tape them. Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, so in my head, I'm thinking, okay, well, this book is gone. Why is this book not age appropriate? So that's out. So then, I have a glossary. I spent, however much on this huge glossary of 100 words. Well, that isn't practical for me, a busy mom with, I was pregnant again. I had a daughter. The NFL life. That glossary style wasn't practical for me either, because I didn't have time to, and it was really intimidating of me trying to learn sign language. I was not an expert. This was not my background. And I was trying to learn it. And I'm like, it's written in paragraph form, and it's like, take your left pinky finger with your left this and that and swoop it like a J and swiggle around. And I'm like, what does that mean? I need an easy photo. So I was just jotting down, everything I wish I had in one book. And when the questions would pour in and they'd say, what book? I just kept being like, I don't have one. I'm like, I don't. Do you want this 100-page one? I don't have anything to give you. So long story short, that's how this happened.
And on top of your crazy, stressful life, you added a book to it. And I'll be honest, when I first read your book, Elise, I assumed you were a sign language teacher.
No.
I really did.
I love that.
Yeah, I really thought, wow, that's so cool, because I've always been intimidated by sign language. And I think the reason your book, Sign Me Up for a Happy Home, love the title, is so important because, I'm a grandmother, have 5 grandkids, and my 2 oldest daughters taught their kids when they're probably 6 months, 8 months old to sign. I mean, not like you did, but maybe 4 or 5 words. And I thought, what a great thing to do, because you're teaching young kids how to communicate before they can communicate. Exactly. And so what do you think the average age child should be or is when a parent should start teaching them sign language?
Okay, so this is all me filtering back all the, the research that I've done since, because I wanted to be really transparent with everyone. And I think that's why it's relatable, is that this book was written in the perspective of someone who knows nothing about sign, and just it's like, it's a picture book. It's everything that you want right when it's got, a deeper dive for later when you have time, but you can just glance at it and see the sign. There's enlarged teaching photos, right? So I think it's a great resource for parents, but it's technically correct because it was edited by Colleen Farrell, who was born 100% deaf and holds a master's degree in deaf studies and sign language teaching. So, after I had written the book, I partnered with Colleen, and she's amazing. And I made sure that every little, correct degree of the hands were technically correct, because, I am not. Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So I'm so sorry. To answer your question, when questions like that, I just wanted to, give some background that I totally have the answers to that, but it's not me. This is from pediatricians, therapists, language specialists. So average age 6 months.
Okay. I'm going to call you out on that as an author, but you wrote the book.
I did. Yes.
And the thing that I think is extraordinary about the book is, first of all, the words or phrases you use are very, very common. For instance, all done, bath, bed, book, diaper, eat, help, love. And so you have a page on each one, and at the top of the page, you have showing how the hands should move. And then you have a cute kid underneath, and the little guy with all done is sitting in the chair, even has food smeared on his face. Yes. I love it. And it's showing him signing. Yes. And I think it's, as you said, it's age appropriate. One of my frustrations with kids' books, and I'd see this all the time, is that the photos are for young kids, but the wording is not. And there's a huge disconnect. But for a mom or dad reading this, it goes right to you, because the truth is, if you're a non-signing parent, you don't want to read paragraphs of stuff. You say, okay, what does it look like? What's the phrase? What does the kid look like when they're saying it back to me? Boom. That's what you do. And
you're reading my mind.
Anybody can handle that. Anybody who doesn't know anything about signing can handle that. And I say that as one who's been intimidated by signing, because, I think, that's just way too complicated. And they talk so fast with their hands. My hands are too small to do that. So how did you come up with this format? Because it's brilliant format.
That is the nicest compliment on the planet. That is the most affirming every detail you just noticed. Like, I've never had anyone, it's probably because, you are a doctor, you are a specialist, you appreciate the details. Like, if I made this for one person, it was you, and you appreciate it. Done.
I get it. It was made for me, because I really would like to learn from my grandkids.
Yes. And I've had so many, people say that they're, oh my gosh, I'm giving it to my, my parents as well, so that they can continue to teach sign at their house. And this can be this fun family project that we're all doing together. Let's master this 15 signs. So yes, exactly what you're saying. The format was written based off of what I was saying earlier, how I needed, what were all the issues when I was trying to learn as a person with no experience. So I would jot down just what you mentioned in the beginning, how they're the easy words. So I chose the 15 starter signs. What are the 15 signs that alleviate stress in a child? What are the 15 signs that when they're frustrated, chances are it's going to be one of these 15 signs. So if they can use their hands to tell you before, in that age gap, before they can talk from 6 months to a year or beyond, if you're 17 months old. Some kids
don't really start talking till they're 2.
Yes.
It parents out, and it's fine. But if they could sign, It would really help parents. They go, okay, he does know what I'm saying. It's just that he can't, so he can receive it. He just can't express it. So I'm sorry I interrupted you. So you were going
exactly. Oh yeah, no, yeah, we can get in. I want to get into that as well. But yes, I'm like, let's cover it all. But yes, the format was me wanting, I want a picture book. I want this the one condensed resource for parents. So starting from when I was picturing myself, I was in Philly, I had a 10-month-old and I was, 6 months pregnant. And I'd be searching around through all these books I had all over the floor, and I'd be trying to find which book had what word in it, right? So I finally find the book, and then I'm flipping through and I can't find it. And I'm like, why aren't any of these in alphabetical order? So I'd write that down. Okay, it needs to be in alphabetical order. And then I'd be, why don't they have a table of contents? So like as a parent, when I'm looking at it, because like there's more books that are coming out. The next one's about happy eating. It's all 15 food words. So I want parents to be able to just glance at the first page, see what words are in the book. So I would just write down just what I wish I had. And for a really long time, throughout the whole time of teaching London and then having another child. So I wanted easy format that you can just glance. And then I decided all these different things, but I ended on at the top, make it bold, the boldest colors. So that's where your eyes go first. That's where you're going to go when you're first glancing at it. And it's going to tell you with enlarged teaching photos, with motion, with arrows. You'd be surprised how, I was like, oh, how come some books were like a snapshot? It was just like a frozen frame. But so then I thought that was the sign. And then I would look in another book and I was like, oh, well, this one looks like it has a little wiggling in it. So which is it? So then I'd go on Google and it was just so time consuming. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, it needs shadowing. It needs to show where the hand was. And let's do numbers. Let's do 1, 2, easy bullets. You start here, you end here. Let's have arrow. Let's show my mom, of course. My mom is the best. She's like, you need to add the little knuckles in, and you need to add the creases in their palms so that you can see their palms. And I was like, Mom, you're a genius. It's just
mothers usually are, but we never want to listen to them.
Well, my mom is the reason that I started teaching London Sign. So she's the reason for this book. So my mom was a teacher of special education, and I was brought up with inclusivity with intention. Mm-hmm. And she suggested to Golden and I that, why don't you should really try to teach London Sign before she can talk. So that is, and literally whatever she says, like she's that mom that everything she's ever said, it's turned out to be right. Yeah. So we don't even question it. We're just like, okay, in sign language it is. And we're buying all the books. Yeah. So she's the reason we did it.
As you've been talking through telling people what a page looks like, I just want to map it out for them because it's brilliant. So at the top of a page, at the top of one of your page, which are cardboard, hard.
Yes, they are board
no pop-ups. No pop-ups, which is great. So you have a word like eat, and then you'll have 2 things or 3 things under it. With one hand, bring all fingertips and thumb together. Bring towards mouth and tap lips. And then right next to it, you have a picture, just a drawn picture of a parent doing that with your mouth. That's the top of the page. Mm-hmm. Down in the middle of the page is the child signing it, like you said, with shadows. So it starts here, it ends here. And then the right-hand side, you say tip.
Yeah, that's the deeper dive column. When you have time later, say you want to make this into a bedtime story. Say we want to make this into I wanted to say multi-purpose book. This wasn't just the boom, boom. This is, let's make this a bedtime story too. Let's talk about it. Let's converse.
Yeah.
That's the column.
So it starts easy, easy, easy. And it goes down to easy, easy. And then it goes over to, okay, let's take a deeper dive. Yes. So it is. You should have called it the signing book for dummies. But I love it. Sign me up for a happy home. Parents, I hope you're enjoying this conversation with Elise Tate. We need to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of my conversation. Whether your school has been open, closed, or some mix, you have inevitably worried about how the last year has impacted your child's learning. This is even more true if your child has a diverse learning need like ADHD, learning disabilities, or executive functioning challenges. That's where Progress Parade comes in. Through one-on-one online tutoring with a hand-picked specialist, they offer a convenient solution to complex learning needs. Whatever your need, they have you covered. For example, they provide executive functioning coaching for students with ADHD to help them complete homework, Orton Gillingham or Wilson tutoring to teach students with dyslexia to read, and individualized math support for math class. To find even more examples of what they do, visit their website at progressparade.com. At Progress Parade, they know that what makes you different makes you strong. All of their tutors are expert learning specialists with a broad range of training so that they can choose the best possible tutoring match for your students' individual needs. In order to get started, visit them at progressparade.com and book a free consultation. During your free consultation, they'll listen to your concerns and goals and help you choose the perfect specialist to help turn learning challenges into superpowers in the classroom. Visit progressparade.com. Parents, now that I'm spending more time at home, I'm finding messes can show up just about anywhere, especially where you least expect them. And that means I need a vacuum that's versatile enough to keep up with it all. That's where my new Hoover Blade Plus comes in. It's versatile, adaptable, and ready for whatever life throws at it. Blade Plus is a real powerhouse in cord-free cleaning. It's engineered with Hoover's Dust Vault technology that captures dust and fine particles as you clean. Messes aren't just limited to the floors. That's why Blade Plus converts to a hand vac with a variety of included tools to get the job done no matter what. Blade Plus is cordless, powered by Hoover's removable, rechargeable lithium-ion battery. Hoover has a whole lineup of cordless cleaners powered by the same battery. So you can simply swap and go from job to job, just like some popular power tool brands these days. Friends, I have a confession. I am a vacuum cleaner junkie. I love good vacuum cleaners because I love clean floors. I have wood floors, tile floors, carpeted floors, and I like to have them all clean most all of the time. That's why a good vacuum cleaner is my friend. And friends, I have the Hoover Blade Plus, and I can't tell you how much I love it. I keep it in my kitchen. I grab it off of the charger, and I can take it just about anywhere. It's light and it's strong enough to clean the wood floors in my kitchen, the tile in my mudroom, and the thick carpeting in my living room. And friends, I'll tell you, I have grandkids riding scooters up and down my kitchen floors. My husband works in the wood a lot and frequently drags wood chips, dirt, mud, you name it, into our house. And my Hoover Blade Plus can tackle it all. Plus, I love the variety of included tools that I get with the Hoover Blade Plus because I can vacuum my carpets, I can switch out the tools, I can vacuum the corners in my ceiling, and I can even vacuum my drapes and my couch. I just love my Hoover Blade Plus. If you're ready to experience cord-free, adaptable cleaning for yourself, check out the Blade Plus at hoover.com. That's HOOVER.com. It's versatile enough to fit into any cleaning routine. Get your own Hoover Blade Plus today. And don't forget to check out Hoover on Facebook and Instagram. Friends, Third Love uses the measurements of millions of women to design bras with all-day comfort and support. Every Third Love bra is made with signature memory foam cups, no slip straps, and a scratch-free band in a variety of sizes. You've heard us talk about their Fit Finder quiz, and now Third Love just launched the Fitting Room, a new and improved version of the quiz we all know and love. The quiz focuses on size, breast shape, current fit issues, and your personal style to deliver bras and underwear that are perfect for you. The Fitting Room has helped 18 million women find their true bra size. You could be next. Plus, Third Love's team of expert fit stylists are available via chat or email to answer all your questions. Silky layered mesh gets the vintage treatment in Third Love's timeless new collection, Ombre Mesh. Friends, I can't tell you how comfortable Third Love bras and underwear are. There's no way to explain it. The only way you'll understand is to try Third Love. I will tell you, I hate bras that pinch your shoulders and scratch your neck and move around, and you're so relieved at the end of the day to take off your bra. Not with Third Love. The truth of the matter is, friends, you don't even know you have it on. Most bras don't fit well because they're not made for our body type specifically. Third Love doesn't do that. They have so many styles and brands that you will find a Third Love bra that fits you perfectly. I promise. Third Love knows there's a perfect bra for everyone. So right now, they're offering my listeners 20% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/Meg now to find your perfect fitting bra and get 20% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/Meg for 20% off today. So you started signing because of your mom, but also as a mom, you wanted to give your kids a way to express themselves.
Yes.
Do you think so? Learning to sign is good for kids.
It has been the most beneficial thing that I have done as a parent. And it is why this book was created, was because of the hundreds that turned thousands of questions and DMs that were so overwhelming they would, disappear, because I would story things in real life and show like this just changed my whole day, because my baby or toddler was able to tell me what they were thinking. This just changed that trip to the park. This changed our morning when I put them in the high chair and they didn't want to eat. They wanted to, do something else. Instead, my son can say all done. Well, then I was teaching them specific sign words. I would ask London, what do you want to eat? Just looking at her. I remember this one day in Philly, like I was trying to shove spaghetti in her mouth, and I'm like, eat the spaghetti.
And how old was she?
So she was 11 months old.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to give her spaghetti, and we're in Philly, and we'd just gotten traded there. Again, I'm very pregnant, and she is throwing a fit, and the spaghetti is going on the ground. And I'm frustrated because I made it, and I know she likes spaghetti. And I'm like, this is like all parents, right? And then I just stopped, and I looked at her, and I go, London, what do you want? And she stopped, and she took her hand straight out like she was going to, shake my hand, and then wiggled it around. And that is like a fish going upstream. And she signed to me, fish. And I about fell over,
Wow.
And this is just one of the aha moments. She'd signed a lot before that, but that was the first time that she had signed fish back, because, all throughout the day, I'm signing her different words.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to eat? You were signing and saying eat, etc. So anyways, I'm trying to give her the spaghetti that I know she loves, and she just signs to me fish. Mm-hmm. And that in our home means tuna fish. So whenever I would give her tuna fish sandwiches, I would sign to her the sign for fish and fish, and just over and over and over. And that day, she was screaming and screaming, and she just signed fish to me. And I looked at her and I was like, you want a tuna fish sandwich?
Wow.
Done. And I looked at her and I told her that she knows exactly what I'm saying. She's 11 months old. She was so happy. She stopped throwing the spaghetti. She is watching me watch and talk to her. And she's patiently waiting for this tuna fish sandwich. She gets it, and her eyes are just like lit up. And she is just like the happiest kid. She eats all of her tuna fish sandwich. She is fed. I'm not a mind reader. I never could have guessed that she wanted that. But because that simple hand gesture of fish, and that she, and I had taught her it for probably a month prior, and she had never signed it to me. But in that moment, it changed my whole day. And then that, I, grab my phone. I'd be like, you guys, like, London, do it again. London, sign fish. And so those are kind of the moments that I would show on my story. And then people were like, that's fascinating, And so again and again, that's how it happened. But so many times. And one of her first signs ever was during that crazy move when we got traded from the Detroit Lions to the Eagles. And there were boxes everywhere. And my husband had to jump on a plane in 2 hours, and I was left there by myself to pack up this house. And in the chaos, she's crying, and I'm just looking at everything. And she yanks on my leg and just put her hand on her cheek, tilted her head to the side, and signed to me bed. And that was her first sign she ever did. She just told me, like, I want to go to bed.
And how old was she then?
She was, that must not have been her first sign. That was her first sign of bed. Her first sign of bed, as I realized. But at that time, she was almost 10 months old, 9 months old.
Well, and the reason I ask you that is it's really extraordinary, because we're telling people, you're really telling parents, you can open up a whole new world for your child by teaching them to sign even 15 words. 15 words. And how wonderful for her. I am doing a webinar on discipline, when no doesn't work anymore. You said no over and over. And one of the things that I try to tell parents is, if you're watching your kids' behavior, to try to figure out why. Because so many times we react and we get mad and we just, why are you throwing your spaghetti on the floor? Da, 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 da. What kind of a kid are you? But I said, once you know the why, then you know the what.
Exactly.
Because once you know why is this kid having such a fit, then it totally changes how you respond. I guarantee with that spaghetti, you would have just thought, this is a discipline issue. My child doesn't like food. Oh my gosh, she's going to lose weight. What's wrong with her? I need to take her to the pediatrician. But in just those few moments, she learned that. So it not only opens up a whole new world for kids, and it gives them skills to communicate to their parents. But I would bet, and I don't know if there are any studies done on this, but it really enhances brain maturity.
It does. It's been proven. I've done so much research on that. And I've partnered with, I wanted this to be research based or backed. I want it to be pediatrician backed. And I've partnered with speech pathologists and therapists and language specialists. And we're slowly but surely expanding, the website to do, and the Instagram for Q&As, and it's all answered by different, language therapists. And there are studies that show that teaching a child sign language, it can increase their IQ by 16 to 18 points. Like, I didn't know that when I was teaching London Sign Language, and it essentially, it's turning on like the language portion of the brain at such an earlier age. They're able to, it's a full language. They are speaking to you. They are conversing back and forth, and they are, they're able to express themselves. The whole thing is more communication, less tantrums, happier homes. And It's just like, the more your child, and at any age, this is not a 6-month thing, because, a lot of babies, I think it's fascinating when moms are, they've been watching my whole journey. So they have the book when they're pregnant. They are so excited. Their kid is 4 weeks old and they're DMing me, I just started. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a little early. But it's awesome. But I'm seeing the parents that do that, like, more power to them, because they are getting the earlier results. I had one gal at 4 months old, and I was screenshotting it. I'm like, this is fascinating. And I told her, I've never had, someone at that age. You're the first one. Usually it's like 6 months is the first-ish sign. Our daughter was signing back around 8 months, but it's just the basics. But it's their needs. So it blows you away when they're crying, and you're going through the motions, like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You can't read their mind. But then I'd get down and say, London, what's wrong? And she would just sign milk and open and close her hand. She'd just open it, close her fist, open, close her fist. That's milk. How easy is that for a child to just open your hand, close it? And so I was nursing, and And so whether it's you're nursing or you're giving your child a bottle, just every single time that you are preparing the formula or that you're about to nurse, you just say, do you want some milk? You sign and say. That's the method, sign and say. So I have that, it's one of the sections in the little deeper dive, the sign and say. Mm-hmm. But just that repetition. And, when the first time London ever signed milk to me, I'm like, she's hungry. She just wants some milk or whatever, her comfort, whatever. But she wasn't crying because I can't read her mind. Does she have a splinter? Is she cold? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Just the fact that she could tell you.
Yeah. At 9 months.
At 9 months. I mean, she's starting to crawl and she tells you she wants milk. That's extraordinary. I mean, it's like her brain has all these communication skills that are untapped. I mean,
yes.
We always focus on motor skills and gross motor, fine motor, and developmental stages that are landmarks that they hit. And yet we never even think about communication. But I just think, for brain development, mm-hmm. it just makes complete sense because you've got the neural pathways that are being laid down and they're being developed, and it's kind of like music is to symphonies.
Yes,
young kids to listen to symphonies.
Listen to while they're in the womb.
Right, and it's just so neat. But I'm also thinking, as far as attachment to a parent goes, it's got to increase that attachment because you're going to feel closer and more secure with someone that you can communicate with.
Exactly. I have never been happier in my life. Like, there's no one that understands me better than you right now.
Now on to my points to ponder. 1, tantrums come from frustration. When children are young and can't communicate well, their frustration can drive a temper tantrum. To whatever degree you can help your toddler communicate, you'll have a better chance of reducing those tantrums. 2, learning to use sign language is good for communication as well as brain development. Young children pick up sign language easier than adults do. As they learn a new language, their brain develops better, their anxiety goes down, and their confidence increases. Teaching your child the basics of sign language during the early years of life will enhance many aspects of his growth and development. 3, teaching your child sign language is a bonding experience. Whenever you and your toddler work face to face, the bond between the two of you grows. Children in their first year of life are still forming strong attachments. So whenever you spend one-on-one intimate time together, you give your young child a means by which he can form a deeper attachment to you. All right, parents, you know that instead of answering questions at the end of every podcast, I'm devoting full podcasts to just answering your questions. That means you can still write me any question on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Write to @MegMeekerMD or send your question to askmeg@megmeekermd.com. I want to thank my guest, Elise Tate, for joining me on the show today. To find out more about Elise, go to shopsignmeup.com. That's shopsignmeup.com. Be sure to follow Elise on Instagram and just search for Sign Me Up on Instagram. Let's recap my points to ponder. 1, tantrums come from frustration. 2, teaching your child sign language is good for communication as well as for brain development. And 3, teaching your child to sign is a bonding experience. So parents, until next time, always remember, great kids are raised, not born.
Hey, this is Bobby, producer of Meg Meeker's Parenting Great Kids podcast. Thanks for listening, and because of your dedication to raising great kids, Dr. Meg's Parenting Revolution has grown to over 3 million downloads. Head on over to Facebook and Twitter and follow @MegMeekerMD and check out what's new at megmeeker.com. And while you're there, sign up for the newsletter to stay updated and get information about giveaways. Don't forget to share the podcast with other parents, subscribe so you won't miss anything, and leave us a review so we know how we're doing.